hey, you look beautiful today, or like someone walked past and they oh, well, thank you. Oh, where are you from? Like, it's kind of a different conversation rather than.
I think going up to women and saying you look beautiful today is a fucking terrible strategy.
I don't mind it.
I think it's a terrible.
You have to say, "May I meet you? May I meet you?
May I meet you?
Yes.
Are you open to being hit on today?" I think maybe you may be a little bit more open-minded. I think most women, especially younger women, especially women who had cell phones through puberty, would run for the hills and call the cops if guys came up to them all the time and said, "Oh my God, look at, she's saying it right now. Oh, wow, you're beautiful," to try to start a conversation. Absolutely not. No, I don't agree with that at all. That's terrible.
I have a question for men. I feel like a lot of men are no longer interested in dating. They gave up on dating. They're not even trying. Why do you guys think that is the case?
Put your eye on it again.
Body count reset.
This has to be a shtick. This has to be a shtick. Wait, look at that. 100 to 150 right swipes to get one match. Average woman, 5 to 10 right swipes to get one match.
I've never been on a dating app, so I'm all set with
Of course, you're like a well-adjusted, normal, attractive woman. Why would you ever be on a dating app? If your advice is to go on dating apps, you should not be a dating coach. Telling men that they should go on dating apps is the equivalent to these dudes who go to Brazil and Panama and sleep with a bunch of prostitutes and come back and they become dating coaches. It's the equivalent to the guy who takes steroids and then he's a fitness influencer. That's the equivalent. Dating apps are the worst. There's 9 men for every woman on Tinder, bro. Get off the dating apps. You have a dating coach and he's telling you to get on dating apps. He basically doesn't know how to help you. And so he's grasping at straws and just trying to take your money. If you want to learn how to attract women and not use dating apps and not do creepy cold approach, just hit me up.
Wait, I want to know, Mike, what would you say to this poor guy right here?
Okay.
I have you look pretty cute.
I have a boyfriend. I'm sorry.
No.
See? Boyfriend. No, I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. Thank you, but
yeah,
I have a boyfriend.
No,
I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. No, because I have a boyfriend. No, I have a boyfriend. I actually do have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend.
You do?
I have a boyfriend.
No.
I'm married. I'm engaged.
Huh?
A man will respect an imaginary boyfriend before they'll imagine being, oh no, I don't want you.
Not respect. He wanted to hook up with him and he didn't give a shit to have a boyfriend. They're making an excuse why they don't want to be with him. Exactly. Here's the thing. Let me ask you a different question. Ready? The guy goes to all the same girls and he doesn't hit them. Hit on them. He doesn't show any intent whatsoever. And instead he says, hey, next week, my friends and I are getting together and we're trying to raise $100,000 for animal rescue here in Los Angeles. Would you like to come? What do you think the chances are then? Do you think they're saying I wouldn't have a boyfriend, or they're saying, hey, let me get your info? What do you think?
Hey, you look beautiful today, or like someone walked past and they oh, well, thank you. Oh, where are you from? Like, it's kind of a different conversation rather than.
I think going up to women and saying you look beautiful today is a fucking terrible strategy.
I don't mind it.
I think it's a terrible.
You have to say, may I meet you? May I meet you?
May I meet you?
Yes.
Are you open to being hit on today? I think maybe you may be a little bit more open-minded. I think most women, especially younger women, especially women who had cell phones through puberty, would run for the hills and call the cops if guys came up to them all the time and said, oh my God, look at, she's saying it right now. Oh, wow, you're beautiful, to try to start a conversation. Absolutely not. No, I don't agree with that at all. That's terrible. Like, it's a terrible strategy. Dating apps are a terrible strategy. Cold approach with intent is a terrible strategy. Having an incredible social circle.
Like Henry Cavill.
If you look like Henry Cavill.
We put it in the point of view, like, what you look like is a difference with that.
Correct. Well, that again,
the part women leave behind. Looks like that doing that is a guy that's doing that. Is he going to approach you like that on the street? It's probably not what's happening. He doesn't.
What he doesn't show you is like his approach. He just gives you the response.
Oh, I'm telling you, after a while, he probably told the girls to just say, I have a boyfriend, so he could make the video better.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably
segue into this are a bit of an emotional roller coaster, I think. The best study on this subject comes from Proust and colleagues. What they looked at was women interacting with real 3D models of various, penis-shaped objects and had them pick and choose which one they actually favored. In terms of length, it was 6.3 inches for a long-term relationship, 6.4 inches for a short-term relationship, relationship, if I'm correct, maybe 16 to 16.25 centimeters. And then in terms of circumference, 4.8 inches for long term, 5 inches around for short term, which is somewhere on the order of 12.2 to 12.7 centimeters. When men hear that, they typically think, oh, that sounds pretty good. That doesn't sound that big. And so this is kind of the peak of the emotional roller coaster where it's like, oh, things are really good. Things are really great. The view's fantastic from here. But then you look at men's perception, or at least their statement of their own size versus their actual size. And you see that men overestimate their own size by about 20%. So rule of thumb, men are usually about an inch smaller than they think, or at least an inch smaller than they say. That's quite a bit. 21% was the figure from the study I'm quoting. Where does that leave us? Well, in actual fact, the average man's penis, according to a meta-analysis of 17 studies, is about 5.16 inches when erect. And that would leave 6.3 inches as about 95th percentile. That's about as common as a man being 6'2". It's not like really, really rare, right? If you walk into a lecture hall or an airplane, there's probably going to be at least one guy.
A few guys, maybe, yeah.
Exactly. There's going to be at least one guy who's at least that tall. So it's not like we're talking about some like freaky preference, but in terms of the frequency with which it's encountered, that is big, right? Like
5 guys out of 100.
Yeah, a 6'2" man is a big guy, right? In the same way, a 6.3 actually is quite big. And more interesting, and I think this is actually the most interesting part of the study, is that they also asked women to pick out from the array of models, and they say, you know, what's ideal, what's the biggest you'd seen ever, and what's the smallest you've seen ever. Very interestingly, most women had never seen a penis that big. And so they were exhibiting a preference for a penis size that was bigger than they had ever experienced. I would say that that's now the trough of the roller coaster where things are as not fun as they could be. Now, this is an ideal preference, and so ideally, most women probably would like to date a guy who's taller than 6'2", who's 6.3 inches. But because it's an ideal preference, they're likely flexible as to their minimum preference, which was not collected in this study. One insight, though, they did ask a very good behavioral outcome question. They said, have you ever broken up with a man over his size? At least partially over his size. About 27% said they had. So most women don't break up over this. Most women, this doesn't appear as a deal breaker, but about a third have had the experience of saying, you know what, I'm going to call it quits. The size is not working for me. Yeah, the size was one of the contributing factors. And I'm willing to say that to a researcher as well, right? Which is probably an underestimate.
There you go. What do you think? There you go.
Well, first of all, as a proud black man,
yes,
BBC gang, we up. We're up, BBC gang, we're up. But you know what's crazy about like dick size? Like, if you're measuring your dick, isn't that kind of weird? Like, why does that matter?
But you guys have done it since you guys
every
were
single one of you
teens.
have.
I never did that shit.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard a lot of these boys do it.
You never did it.
You haven't compared to something.
I've heard
remote control.
I've heard from
water
a poll.
bottle.
I did a poll and I heard the truth. So I'm good with that.
I'm sorry, you did a poll like on Twitter or like with a group
No,
chat?
from the women that he went out with.
I did a survey.
I'm like, did you just send it in a group chat and
I
have
heard
them
great
vote?
news from my survey. I was happy about it. You know what I'm saying? but that's it though.
And what race for all your friends?
All right, man. Come on. We gotta know. I like white girls and Spanish girls. There you go.
We heard.
Oh, well, while we're on that topic, hang on. I got a super chat here I got to get to. Natalie, what's your nationality? Michael knows I have a thing for Asians.
Oh, there you go.
That's so funny. I'm Cuban and Venezuelan. My mom's side, the Cuban side, has Chinese in it.
Chama, que bola. Esere. Ya tú sabes.
You got me with Esere. The first time I was like...
It's mommy vibes.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Oh, God. Here, wait.
That's like super Cuban.
Definitely not.
Oh, this nigga, yo, that's funny, bro. Yeah.
That's my most popular, my most demanded sound drop, by the way.
I'll explain it to you later. That saga was insane, bro. Like
she can't. We met her.
We had her on the show.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I just smashed like 5 times, nigga. It wasn't that serious. Whatever, man. It's good, bro.